Hi everyone, Ashley here and welcome to another video on my YouTube channel. Today I'm sharing how to make this fun, interactive, personalized birthday card featuring some Lawn Fawn dies. This is their Reveal Wheel die and some of their new stamp sets. So this is a virtual friend stamp set that I'm mostly using here. So without further ado, let's get into it. I'm starting by stamping out the images, and like I mentioned, I'm using the virtual friend stamp set for a lot of the images, including the computer, the desk, and then some of the critters and things that you see on the screen. So I'm going ahead and stamping these out first. Then I'm taking some more images from the Birthdays Before and After stamp set by Lawn Fawn, such as that little bird popping out of the present and the little cupcake, and I'm going to be sort of arranging these in the scene as well. Finally, I'm using the Party Animal stamp set for a few more party-themed images. I think I used the balloons and some of the party hats and things from that as well, and the fork and knife. So I'm just laying all of these images out onto my cardstock, which is Neenah Solar White because that's a nice Copic friendly cardstock, and I'm going to be stamping them out with Lawn Fawn Jet Black ink, which is a Copic friendly ink. And I'm using my Mini Misty for this just so that I can stamp the images out twice to get a really nice, clean, crisp black image, which I like. It just kind of helps me be completely error-free and leaves no room for messing up because you can just keep stamping over and over until you get it right. So I'm just stamping it here a second time now, and then after that, the stamping will be done. I'll put those pieces aside and I will come back to them when it's ready to color. Okay, I also need to do some stamping on this Reveal Wheel piece. So I cut this piece out using the scalloped circle die that comes as part of the Reveal Wheel set, and I'm just using the stencil that it sort of matches that rectangle opening. So you'll notice that a lot of the Lawn Fawn Reveal Wheel add-on dies that are different shapes come with associated stencils, and that just helps you line up where you want to stamp your images onto that Reveal Wheel circle so that when you turn the wheel, the images will come up in their proper spot. So I used that template to stamp out the 3 images that will come up when you turn the wheel, and you'll see those again in a moment because I'm going to be coloring them in. Okay, I'm moving on to stamping out the sentiment banner that's going to be going on the card. And like I mentioned, this is a personalized card. It's actually a request. My mom wanted me to make a card for her friend who's turning 60. So I stamped out the words Happy 60th Birthday Kay, who of course is the name of the friend. And I'm using a Lawn Fawn alphabet die set for this and just stamping them out in light blue ink. By the way, if you do want to see the names of any of the stamp sets that I use for this card, if I said them too quickly or if I forgot to say them, just go down and check in the video description below. I list out all of the stamp sets I use for every card I make in every video, so you'll always be able to see where these images or letters come from down there. Also, another tip that I can share for stamping out words like this letter by letter, if you're unsure of the spacing, just do a test onto some scrap paper. So I did that off camera. You can actually kind of see it off to the right in the bottom corner of the screen. I just picked one letter, I just took H, and I just stamped it out in the numbers that I would need. So Happy has 5 letters, I stamped out 5 H's. 60th has 4 letters, I stamped out 4 H's. And I just stamped those out in a straight line to kind of get an idea of the spacing of how those words would work. And once I had done that, I knew that they would indeed fit onto that banner, and I went ahead and stamped them right onto the banner. So that's a good sort of tip to use if you are using these letter dies to stamp out words, is that just kind of stamp them out off camera. It doesn't even have to be the same letters, just to get an idea of spacing, and then you'll know kind of where you need to stamp them out on your piece. Okay, so I'm going ahead and coloring in these images with Copic markers, and there on the left you can see that Reveal Wheel stamped as well. So you can see that using that template I was able to stamp those images in those 3 spots so that when you turn that wheel, those images will come up in the perfect placement. And I will be coloring those in as well as I color this piece. I am going to go ahead and play some music while I finish up with this coloring, so do feel free to sit back, relax, and enjoy the coloring process. Of course, if you don't want to watch the coloring and you just want to see the rest of the card coming together, of course you can skip ahead in the video as well. Okay, so all of the images have been cut and colored and are ready to go. I also used the Reveal Wheel die to cut this white piece and the rectangle opening in it. So I'm building the scene onto this because this will be the front of the card. I adhered a piece of brown woodgrain paper onto the bottom, followed with a thin strip of white woodgrain paper, just to kind of make it look like the floor and maybe a little piece of trim. And then I can start to put all of these images on, and I'm really just going in order of what I want to be sort of behind or in the background up to what I want to be more in the foreground. So I knew that I wanted that little mouse popping out from behind the computer, so I glued him down first, or her down first. And I knew I wanted one of these balloons to be sort of popping out from behind the computer as well, so I also went ahead and glued that down. Next, I know I want this desk to be beneath the computer so that it looks like the computer's on top, so I can just add some liquid glue and glue that right down in place as well. At this point, I can now go ahead and glue down the computer because I've glued down everything else that I need to be behind it. So I'm just using some liquid glue to put around the edges and making sure that I center that computer screen opening with the opening on the Reveal Wheel panel so that, of course, it looks like the opening is coming out through the computer. Then I can continue to glue down these pieces, again using some liquid glue and just sticking things down one by one until I can kind of build up the scene. So I added the second balloon there, then I'm going to be adding the mouse onto the top of the desk, and by that I mean computer mouse, not real mouse. And then I can add this lamp off to the side, and you can see I sort of put the desk a little bit off center so that I had space for that lamp on the left. I also added a little present onto the desk just to make it look a little bit cluttered and like it's really a birthday scene. So as I'm going, I'm just sort of positioning things where I want them and kind of getting an idea of where I want the rest of the elements to be before I start gluing them down. So I put that sentiment banner down at the bottom, and then I'm starting to add these little birds along with a cupcake and some more presents and things. And of course the bird on the right has a little fork in its hand because I thought that it would be cute that it's eating the cupcake on the left. Okay, so now that I have most of the elements sort of where I want them to be in the general placement, I can go through and glue them all down as well. And I'm just choosing to use some liquid glue for this. I figured everything can be sort of flat onto the card because the Reveal Wheel mechanism itself adds a lot of dimension because you want enough dimension behind that card panel to allow space for the Reveal Wheel mechanism to work. So with all the dimension already part of that, I figured I didn't really need to add any more dimension on top, and I could just glue all of these images straight down onto this panel. So I just glued sort of the cupcake and the little bird beside it, the little bird popping out of the box, and the little bird on top of the lamp, and finally the sentiment strip. So now it's time to start assembling the mechanism, and I used a brad to put through that Reveal Wheel scallop circle onto the smaller circle behind it, and then I added some foam squares behind that smaller circle so that it will stick down to this back piece. I'm then determining exactly where it needs to be behind that window, and I could stick it down onto that back piece, which was also cut out from that same Reveal Wheel rectangle die. I can then add some foam all the way around on this piece to give some dimension, again just adding some space for that mechanism to move around. Just using some foam strips for this and just adding them in all the empty places where they won't interfere with the Reveal Wheel turning. Then I can go ahead and start pulling up a lot of this release paper, and I'll be sticking down the front panel directly onto this, lining it up exactly so that, again, the images on the Reveal Wheel come exactly where they're supposed to be. So once that's all done, I can go ahead and adhere this down to a card base. I cut out a border piece out of some purple Watercolor Wishes cardstock from Lawn Fawn, and that's just the same size as the card base. And then I'm using some liquid glue to adhere this whole piece down straight onto that right in the middle. The last thing is just to add this little arrow, which is die cut. It is part of the Reveal Wheel die set as well, and that just tells the recipient to turn the wheel. So here you can see when I turn the wheel, you start with those 4 little critters on Zoom, and then you message happy virtual birthday, and then the little loading screen, which I just think is so adorable. So I just love the Reveal Wheel. I think it's so much fun. I've actually used it in a number of videos, so if you do want to see it used in other videos or see other videos that show how to use it, definitely make sure to check out my channel and you'll see them popping up there. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed seeing this card come together. If you want to see more of my cards, make sure to head over to my Instagram account, which is linked down in the video description below. And make sure to subscribe to my channel so you'll always see when the new videos come out. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!